Hey guys, Czar here. Hope all is well and trust you're having a good morning. Happy hump day. It is Wednesday, August the 7th, and the market has just opened. You see that there? That's the New York session, of course. NASDAQ showing on my screen. Let me take you over to the Three Sisters 1-minute charts. The NASDAQ, S&P, and Dow, and that is VWAP, that blue line in the middle, with 2.5 standard deviation bands on either side, top and bottom. We are open now. Let's take a look at the daily frame, shall we, guys? There's the Three Sisters again. These are daily charts. You can see that we have had this significant sell-off here. Scary to a lot of people, of course, who are long stock. And now we are firming up a little bit, having rejected from this support zone that goes back to here, goes all the way back to April. And you'll see there's something very similar here on the S&P and on the Dow. In fact, all of them showing rejection wicks of some form or another. And yesterday we had broken above Monday's high, and we are threatening to do that right now to break above yesterday's high on the NASDAQ. We have an inside day on the S&P and an inside day on the Dow. So a mixed bag in terms of the daily chart, but looking a little bullish here on the NASDAQ. Let's take a look. You can see that we are breaking through a range here into a new zone, if you will, on the 30-minute chart, having been range bound in this section. And now moving up here, this is the 1-minute chart. I'm going to drop down to a 30-second chart here, guys, this morning, just so we can see a little more detail during this very kind of high volume time. Back to the Three Sisters, pushing up on the NASDAQ, down on the Dow. As often is the case lately, we're getting a divergent picture here between the NASDAQ and the Dow, going to ignore the Dow for the most part. You can see the S&P and NASDAQ both pushing higher. And so that may in fact continue here for a little bit. We'll see. Not going to do anything here out of the gates, guys. It can be tempting. But this is a very vulnerable picture here on the daily, of course. And anything can happen as we are breaking through or trying to break through here on the open. Yesterday's high. It was an indecisive day. The day finished doji, as you can see. In other words, the body basically closed where it opened, more or less. And so that remains to be seen where we're going to go from there. Nothing for me to do. Patience is the game. Dropping on the Dow, pulling back on the S&P, pulling back on the NASDAQ. See how quickly things can change in just 1 or 2 minutes. It's about 90 seconds since that picture looked pretty bullish there for a moment. And now, not so much. Dow now pulling up into open range. NASDAQ dropping down over here on the left, and the S&P dropping down as well. Just going to sit here for quite some time, guys, and watch this play out. Back to the power grid here. Looking like we want to try to push higher. Not doing anything, guys. I'm going to let this all play out here. All right, guys. Buy stop order right above the high of the day here. Stop below that pivot right there. I will be looking for 1R if we can get up there. Here we go, guys. And I'm in, guys. And I'm in. I am long the NASDAQ. Stop below this pivot in the middle of the open range. Looking for some momentum to come in here now and finish this thing off, given that we are breaking 1-2 days highs. Again, of course, we had already broken Monday's high here on the daily. But looking for some follow through here. Not getting it yet. All right, guys, so we're pulling back here. It looks like we do have some rejection and selling coming in here after breaking yesterday's high on the daily chart and in a cleanish traffic zone right here. As you can see, where a gap actually happened that evening, 4 sessions ago, 3-4 sessions ago. And now pulling back, and we'll see if the dip buyers can come in here and save this trade, but I may have to take a charge on this one. It would be a routine business expense. Very definitely worth taking a coin toss on this one and calling heads. Everything about this setup I would take day in and day out. All right, guys, in this very sloppy and messy open, I'm going to move my stop defensively to break even. In other words, if we break below that candle, I'll essentially be stopped out for a no lose, a break even trade. I'm happy to do that here, having reached the halfway mark to the promised land. Looks like I'm going to get stopped out right about now. Let's see. And there it is, guys, stopped out for break even on this one. And if some of you have asked, I'm going to keep the video running to see how this trade plays out. Even though the decision has been made, I know that some of you like to see how the trade plays out after making a dynamic trade management decision, like moving stop to break even, for instance. So you want to see if this trade now pulls back to the original stop, in which case it was a good decision, or if it goes directly to profit without going to the original stop, in which case it was a bad decision. Now, of course, that's not true. It's not a good decision or a bad decision based on what happens next. It was the right decision based on everything I had available to me at the time. I am out break even, and now we'll see how this plays out together. By the way, guys, I want to make it very clear that I don't always move my stop to break even. In fact, I rarely do. I do it on days when things are really messy, sloppy, confused, indecisive. Even though we had a clean entry idea here and clean trade idea with all the right stuff happening here on the daily in this range, all of a sudden when I see confirmed weakness, and I saw it over the course over here on the Three Sisters as well. So again, three-way support here for the entry. Entry here, bullish, bullish, and even bullish over here on the Dow, pulling back up to the top of the open range, above VWAP, above EMAs, 9 above the 21, and so on. But when we start seeing this flattening and messiness here on all three, I begin to get a little nervous. There's no follow through. And when you see a break like this above a prior days, even prior 2 days high on the market open, where a massive amount of volume has entered the market, and you don't see immediate follow through, that's a problem. And that's why I moved to break even. And it does feel like we're going to pull back here to the original stop. Let's watch that happen together. And there it is, guys. So for the hindsight traders, it turned out to be a smart move to break even. I just want to make it very clear, guys. Of course, I'm joking. It is, I mean, obviously it was good to be defensive in this, but it was the right move. It was a smart move, even if, or was the right move for me, even if prices went directly to take profit. But this is what the dance is all about. Hitting that zone, double topping up there at that zone, rounding over, failing to continue with vim and vigor, having broken yesterday's high, and of course also again the high from Monday is definitely a sign of messiness and weakness, and something you want to protect against if you have the opportunity to. And getting to the halfway mark there was all I needed to play defense. Have an amazing day. We'll talk to you soon.